Hey, how you doing? Today we're going to talk about how to stand out as a photographer. All right, now this is not really for you if your goal is to do generic work, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way. If your goal is to be a catalog photographer or do shopping mall portraits, that kind of thing, then that's fine. Maybe forensic or scientific photography. Matter of fact, it would be probably detrimental to your career if you tried to interject a personal style into some type of scientific or forensic photography. So this video is for you if you have a strong desire to express yourself as an artist, okay? And when I say express yourself, I mean express your own aesthetic, your own world view, the way that you see things, the way that you see beauty, or the way that you see tragedy, or compassion, or sensuality, or whatever it is. If you want to express how you feel about the world or about the human condition, then you need to find a way to that place. You also want to stand out as a photographer to create a demand for your personal style, because if you're doing it and no one else is doing it quite like you are doing it, then you're going to be in demand. So obviously, standing out as a photographer, it should be pretty obvious to you by now, can be personally satisfying as well as financially rewarding if you're trying to make money with your photography. Now I'm going to go over 3 different little tips, little ways to think about this, how to get there. And really, these are more don'ts than do's, so kind of bear with me here. I don't mean to sound negative, but it just, as I was thinking about this, it just made sense that if you avoided certain things, by doing that, you'll sort of naturally kind of glide yourself into things that you should be focusing on, things that you can do. All right, so let's start with tip number 1. Don't try to be someone you're not as a photographer, okay? Now, look, I know that you probably, there's a lot of photographers that you admire. There's the work that they do is just like blows your mind. And, you know, it's natural to kind of like take that and think that you want to be able to do that kind of stuff yourself. But that might be a mistake. For example, 3 photographers off the top of my head that I really admire. Todd Heido, Frank Ockenfels, and William Eggleston, okay? What those guys do is so amazing. It's so incredible. I really admire what they produce, but nobody is ever going to do it as well as they do it. I mean, their personal styles, that came out of them. They invented it. No one else is going to be able to do that kind of work, especially long-term or consistently, because nobody else, you know, is that person who's doing that, right? So you've got to find a way to bring your own work out of yourself. You don't want to spend a lot of time sort of emulating other people's stuff. Appreciate what they do for its own sake. Love it, but don't feel that you have to do it, okay? You don't have to do exactly what they do. You don't have to make it look like they make it look. Find your own way. All right, tip number 2, don't do work to impress anyone but yourself, okay? I know there's this natural tendency for us to want to do stuff that other people are going to appreciate, that other people are going to like and accept. That's really not the way to approach things if you're looking for your own voice and your own style to emerge. There's always going to be people who love what you do and who really don't appreciate what you do. And your audience is always going to accept your work, you know, unless there's like these radical shifts. And even then, they might accept part of it and not accept, you know, another area of work that you do, another style that might emerge over time. But the thing is, your audience is the people who want to see what you do. The people who don't like what you do, they're not your audience. They don't really count. So don't worry about them. Don't try to impress those people. Now, obviously, if you're being paid to do a certain work, if you're being paid to meet a certain expectation with your photographs, then you're going to have to do what your customer expects. But the trick here is to get to a point where what you show guides those expectations. So you don't want to throw in a bunch of stuff in a let's say an online portfolio. You don't want to throw in a bunch of stuff on your website that says, hey, look, I can do this and this and this, because you're looking for paid gigs, right? But then what people expect are what you show. People are going to expect the type of photographs that you display as examples of your work. However, if you're displaying stuff that's just really true to you, if you're displaying, let's say that you're a portrait photographer, if you're displaying portraits that really demonstrate your style, then that sets the expectation. That's what people will pay you for. And you're going to be able to meet those expectations because it's exactly what you do, right? Now, with all that being said, tip number 3 might be a little surprising to you, and that is don't worry about finding your style and your voice. These things are going to emerge over time. You know, as long as you're patient, as long as you keep doing your work, and you're true to yourself, these things are going to emerge over time. They're going to reveal themselves to you. Really, the only thing holding you back from seeing your style and your true voice emerging any faster is just that tendency to do work that isn't very true to yourself. And I know that can be kind of a struggle, because it takes practice. It takes practice to let yourself go. It takes courage not to shoot what other people expect, or something similar to what you've seen and been impressed with. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes time. It takes patience. You've got to cultivate this in yourself. You've got to find a way to free yourself from these mental constraints and this constant editing that goes on in your head and the second guessing. But with practice, you can get over these things. With practice, you'll get braver. You'll learn to let go. You'll shoot with instinct and with heart. And that's what you really need to do if you want your own unique style and voice to shine through your images. So as you go down this path, just remember, don't try to be anyone you're not. Shoot for yourself first. Create work that means something to you. It's going to mean something to someone else down the road. Believe me, you're a human being, and if you express something with truth and passion, it's going to resonate with other human beings. Not with everyone. You don't have to worry about everyone, but it's going to resonate with enough people, and it's going to be so much more rewarding to you as you move down the path that way to finding your style and your own unique voice. You're going to wonder why you didn't start doing this any sooner, okay? I know we all have to start off learning basic skills and emulating other people. It's a good learning process. At some point, you've just got to let yourself go. You've got to learn to be free with your art. And like I said, it takes practice, but you're going to get there. I've got lots of videos where I talk about stuff like this. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense to watch the tutorials and to learn the technical stuff. But you've also got to feed that creativity, right? It's very important. All right, now I've got to go and do some creative stuff of my own. But thanks for hanging out with me today. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you appreciated this video. And go ahead and click subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. I love your comments. All right, see you next time.